Oh, good morning, YouTube. Here we are, bright and early, Saturday morning. It's early for us, I don't know about early for you. It's 6 a.m. in the morning. We're about to embark on our longest journey of our On the Road series. So we're heading over to Eastern Washington. It's about a 6-hour drive to visit Tom Cooper. Tom has been a hobbyist. He's been, had tanks for almost the last 40 years. But it hasn't been since for the last 20 years that he's really gotten pretty hot and heavy into it. A lot of you on Facebook know Tom, see a lot of his pictures of his Nanolutis, Cryptoheros, but it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to see Tom because he lives so far away. I've never visited him. It's only been one of those things that we've communicated via the forums and Facebook, gotten to know each other pretty well. Met a couple of times, dropped off some fish kind of in a central location. Did that about a year or so ago. And unfortunately for those, was paired to Gold Dovi and some Honduran Jags. Tom went through a little misunfortunate, I shouldn't say misunfortunate, it's an unfortunate incident where his now ex-wife got in with the wrong people when they moved to Pomeroy, from what I understand, and got messed up on some drugs, and I guess jealousy for whatever reason, the excuse of the reason, she poured lye into every one of Tom's tanks and pretty much wiped out his entire collection. So I'm excited to see what it looks like. I mean, even the strongest willed individual would have given up at that time. You're talking, 12, 15 tanks where, everything is dead. He's got some acrylic tanks where apparently, from what I understand, they absorbed the lye, and so those became worthless. Cannot use them anymore. And we're talking tanks that are up around 500 gallon size. So anyway, you guys will learn just like me and see everything that he's got as I see it. So we're off. So here we are, YouTube. We're at Tom's house. How you doing, Tom?
Pretty good.
Oh, and this is your big Hannibal, big Jag.
Wild Costa Rican Jag. Real Picare.
He is a beauty. And this was one of Raps's breeders?
Yeah. When my other pair
didn't make
was
it.
lost, I after about a month, I just had to have another pair.
No, he is. He's nice and tall, nice and thick. Come here and flare at me.
And he has severe anger issues.
Oh, he is a beauty.
I almost called him Linus. The first 2 weeks in the tank, he wouldn't come out. He hid the whole time. And then when he finally decided he was comfortable, he turned into this. Jeff said he was a big tank buster.
Really? Oh, there. Oh, now you're going to come at me? Guess I got to protect your fry.
I just left a few in there to try to forestall the next one a little longer. But they're typically huge spawners. And she's not even full grown yet.
No, she's still... Well, he looks like he's probably still got a little bit to go, too.
It's hard to get a real accurate, but I say he's about 13.
I'd say that's about right, yeah.
Try not to be too optimistic.
Come on over here, little girl. Oh, you're going to hide.
She'll come out eventually.
And how is he with her? Is he pretty pleasant with her?
Yeah, she actually beats him up a fair amount. Usually right after a spawn, he'll have loose scales hanging off both sides. But it never has gotten any more serious than that. She bit most of his, well, about a quarter of his tail off once.
Nice.
Came back.
He is a beauty.
He's gotten me a couple of times. You know, not so much that he bites hard; he hits hard.
Startles the crowd out of you.
Oh yeah, you get water on the ceiling and stuff.
Yes. Sweet. Sweet. Let's cruise on over
Male
to...
Kana.
And the Kanas, are they part of the...
These are Crypto Heroes Kana now. They used to be Amatitlania, or however you want to pronounce it.
And are they kind of the convict?
They're
of
a
it?
member of the convict complex.
Right.
It'd be pretty easy to lump them all into convicts, but then you'd have to call the Hunter and Red Points just another convict.
Right. Well, he's going to get aggressive. All your fish coming right up to the camera.
He's a dovey.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a finger nipper.
How you doing?
She's fairly aggressive right now because she just laid eggs.
So we have some eggs here, and they are down there. It's going to shine the light. We're going to zoom in there.
There's several hundred.
Nice. Is this their first, second, third spawn? What?
About 5 now.
Oh, so they've been at it for a while.
Yeah. I've been distributing fry right and left.
Nice. Shipping them out?
A few have gone back to New York. There's quite a few been distributed in the Spokane area.
Nice. So Crypto Heroes Kana. Beautiful. And you got these from Jeff as well?
Yeah.
Is Jeff pretty much mainly your...
Well, it's not like I actually have a fish store handy.
True.
In fact, I've only been to one actual fish store in my life, and that was Bridges in, I think it's Snohomish or Skycomb, when I was visiting Pops up there. Other than that, I've never actually been in a decent pet store in my life. Most of the fish that I get, I've never actually seen or had, no experience whatsoever. It's always jumping in at the deep end. Nice. So, research as much as you can. Make a plan and work it.
Yep, exactly. Read, learn, figure out.
I'm just now starting to delve into some of the blackwater species, which is a little challenging because my tap is 8.3 and, if you let it sit too long, it settles into concrete. And
nice.
But filtering with peat and using some neutral regulator, I have the Epistos down to basically an even neutral, which will work while they're growing.
Right.
They won't spawn at that, but I'm probably working into an RO system within the next month.
That'd be nice. Definitely.
Well, it's much easier to sell small things. Face it, 1 or 2 jag spawns and you've saturated the known universe.
I know what that's like with my doe viper out by when I had my female.
Yeah, I understand the loss.
Yeah. It's
These guys have about doubled in size since I got them, I think it was 4 months ago.
Is this typical max size here?
He might get, another ½ inch, probably fill out a little bit more. She might gain another full inch, I think. A little difficult to say since I've never seen an adult one.
Right. And they're about 5 inches now, the male is, I'd say. And so let's moving on.
Okay, these are just my daughter's angelfish.
Nothing wrong with that.
And they're a couple of half blacks, couple blushings, and some marbleds. She doesn't even know they're here yet.
Oh,
It's her 6th birthday, and she wanted a tank of her own, which means I'll be maintaining it.
Always. I maintain my son's. Only because he's in Arizona.
Then here we have a mixed South American community, mostly South American. It's got a few conif grow-outs in it.
Oh.
The crassipins is right here staring at you.
That's the Oscar?
Yeah.
Is this the wild-caught one?
Yeah, this is a wild-caught
Yes.
crassipinus.
Yes.
And typical of Oscars, he's always hungry. And he does the little, wag his whole body dance. And
Exactly. And what is his color going to be? Is it going to be a dark like this?
They're about like a, very similar to a bumblebee Oscar. Again,
Okay.
I've never seen an adult one, but I have hopes that he'll color. Oscars change so much during their growth.
Right. And are these some of your Kana?
Yeah, those are a few Kana I'm saving for anyone who, wants a couple or a few. I have some more in the other South American tank in the other room. And there's some wild-caught flags, wild rotkill and wild Aquatins mate, and a couple of crypto heroes, septum fasciatus.
There's your
That's one of the
rock
subs.
teal.
Yeah.
And then that one is the one in the middle there. What is that one?
That's a crypto hero septum fasciatus.
Ah.
There's a pair of them in here. They've yet to spawn yet, but they've pretty much just gotten to the size where I think they might start.
And what is this one sneaking over next to me? And there's one down here as well.
That's
They look
probably
similar.
the female.
Ah.
Yeah, she likes to hide out in that bowl. And there's also a Gymnophagus norte.
Over on that side, you get these names down pretty well.
I don't use the common names if I can avoid it.
Right. I agree. Oops, I don't want to step on your cords
Oh,
there.
it's
Can
okay.
I sit on your bed?
Yeah, this is the dog's bed.
Oh! Dog's got a nice bed.
And dog's got a sleep number.
Keep his back nice.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's a Kana from the first spawn.
The little chubby guy?
Yeah. I want to have another pair. And really, it's kind of overkill. I've got them in a 55 right now. I'm probably going to move them to one of the 30s when I get done quarantining all the things that have been coming in. Sort of in a rebuild right now. Because I didn't just lose a bunch of fish. I lost 7 tanks. You pour chemicals into acrylic tanks like that, and they don't come back.
So you lost. Oh, I didn't realize there was so many of mine.
Two 500-gallon tanks, 2 125s, a couple of 55s, and a 30 acrylic.
And the acrylic just absorbed that lye and it won't come out.
It was like, kicking a car window is what they looked like.
Oh, so it wasn't the... Okay, it just completely ruined them.
Yeah. Every side, the only spots that looked good was under the substrate.
Dang.
Yeah. Well, the person that did it's serving 2 years.
Yeah, I told him that. I don't know if I hit the 2-year part, but yeah.
And it wasn't a long ordeal in court.
It's pretty quick and simple and painless. Nice. And it was for from what I understand, it was for just the destruction of the property.
Yep. Yeah.
And not the destruction of the species.
Correct. The destruction of the animals, we could have probably prevailed on, but it would have been much more difficult. But straight destruction of property is very straightforward and very easy.
Got 2 years for that.
Yeah. Well, because the value, the 500 tanks to replace them are, even if I make them myself, there's a couple of grand of material.
Yeah, a few thousand. That is just a shame.
I still have one left. And those are Mezzanata acora. I had 3, but there was a jump out incident.
This one right here in front of me?
Yeah.
Is this the same as this one?
Yep.
This one, I like the coloring of
That's, I think, the male, and I think the other one's a female, but again, hard to be sure. And they adapted quite well to the water here.
Really?
Again, I don't think they'll spawn. They're just sort of there as ornament right now, anyway.
Right. So you get your nice big South American tank set up.
Yeah. Well, once I get RO, even a lot of my centrals will benefit from softer and a little bit lower pH.
Right. I like that one. If you come out so I can see him again.
Yeah, they know you have a camera.
You take a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
Oh, there he is over there.
That's the little Matei. That's the big one. Big guy's down there staring at you, I think. He's nearly 6 inches. He's quite a jerk.
To everybody in the tank?
Yeah, if you'll notice, a lot of people have. He doesn't cause a lot of damage, but little bite marks.
You see a scale mark or something
Yeah.
here and there.
I don't get too concerned about it.
Any other than just pH? No other special needs for these guys?
Not so far. There he is.
There we
You
go.
can see him being a jerk.
Yes, he is. He's good looking.
Yeah, Aquadens Matei are not the gentlest of the Acara. They can actually... I wouldn't want to put anything smaller than that little Oscar in here. The Crypto Heroes do fine, and because they've got quite a bit of moxie on their own. But I wouldn't put, say, small Severums or something like that in here. I've got them in a different tank. By the way, has anyone else had the curse of madness on the road yet? In the last 3 days, I've had 2 lights fail and an unexpected ick infestation.
Are you serious?
Yep.
All everything knew I was coming.
Yeah. Haven't had ick in 3.5 years.
Wow.
I caught it really early though, so.
Yeah, he's could be in a butt to your girl.
And they've spawned a number of times, even in the straight water.
He's a
I
good
bet if
looking
I
male.
put them in soft water, he'd just go nuts.
And I would assume, excuse me, that getting them closer to their comfort zone should bring out a lot
Even
more colors.
color.
Yeah.
And, yeah. They're while they're doing well and they grow well and they look nice right now, it's sort of like when I did Tanganyikans, they loved this water. I mean, they just
Yes.
absolutely thrived in it. Unfortunately, the last of them were wiped out in the incident.
Right. Yeah. Tanganyikans. Yeah. They swim in concrete.
Oh yeah. In fact, I actually have to harden this water a little more because while it's very hard right now, it's not quite the correct ratio of elements.
Correct.
And tangs respond fabulously to mimicking the lake in their colors.
Beautiful. Sweet.
And the Rotkill's showing a little red for you right now.
Yes, I noticed that. Darren's gonna like this. One of the guys on the box. In fact, he was episode number 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's really wanted to start his 370 or 360 gallon
I
tank.
really liked Grumpy Gills and Morgan's
Yeah.
video. I'm about ready to start trying to kill real plants for the first time myself.
Me too.
I've traditionally had an extremely black thumb, but the Epistos are going to want actual plants.
I want to do that too. I
Severance.
believe.
This is the Rio Inirida,
Wow.
Wild Notatus. The 2 smaller Severums, there's one over there, those are Rio Tapajos. And those are Geophagus, albios.
These
Here's
guys
the Rostratus, that's another Norte.
down low.
Yeah. And these are Steindackeries.
Oh, some tiny little Steindachner.
And here's the Rostratus. He's doubled in size. I feel so bad about it though. 90% die off in the 10 I've had or attempted to have shipped, all due to FedEx stupidity.
Is that the package that came late, or
The first time we tried with 5 of them, the FedEx had 2 aircraft mechanicals, one in Tennessee for a whole day, and then in Spokane for another 18 hours. And because it was locked in a container inside the plane, I couldn't even drive up and get it.
wow, that's too
The
bad.
only survivors of that shipment were the rainbows.
And what is that guy?
That's Archocentris multispinosus.
So that is a multispinosus?
Yeah. There's a
Why do
pair
they
of them
look-
in here.
Why do they look so different from the ones you buy at the store? Is it the wild?
These are wild. They're from a very southern Costa Rican river. Again, real pure. The Norte's looking good right now.
The one that's all blackened up here?
Yeah. This one's a little hard to photograph in.
It's alright.
And I leave the back algae covered on purpose.
A
lot of these guys like to nibble on it.
I was just going to make that suggestion. I noticed that you have it right up against the window with the algae right there. And it wouldn't surprise me that they go off and just kind of graze on it all the time.
Well, especially when you get fry. Your fry survival goes through the roof when you've got a lot of, wood with moss on it and algae in the tank. The other thing I do for, especially with the Jags fry survival, is put a big sponge filter in. And that way all the food that the fry don't get the first time ends up on the sponge filter and they feed off that the rest of the time.
Yep.
So it doesn't all end up in the FX5 and the 2217.
I really like that Cryptoheros, or not Cryptoheros, but the...
that's the male
Multi-spinosus. I might have to get me a pair of those. Wraps have them right now?
I have another pair that I'm actually looking to home.
Well, heck.
They're actually inside in that other 55 over there.
We might have to talk later. Because I like the colors on those.
And there's a Kana. Well, there's a few Jags in here also.
I'll say, you got Kanas everywhere.
Yeah, I like them. Here's one. Probably a female.
Tiny little thing.
And that's from the last spawn. I always save a few of what I think are the best colored ones. Or anything that looks unusual. Hoping someday to come up with like an albino Jag or...
They just posted, somebody just posted one up on, I don't know what they call them, but a white Jag on Facebook. And I saw that.
Melanistic, probably.
Yep. And it was beautiful. Big old, sitting in the middle of its big old swarm of fry.
There's my biggest male Stein right there.
I love these guys when they get full grown too, but the colors they put off.
And my Heckley are starting to finally put out decent threads. This one over here, and my big male over there. And they actually spawned once, and I got wigglers, but overnight they ate them all.
Once it became wigglers? Took care of them until that point?
Yep.
That's too bad. Yeah, I was looking at getting a few of those as well. Yeah,
they're wonderful community fish. They take care of themselves, but they don't usually cause trouble. And the multis chase everybody too, but again, they don't do much.
Well, Darren's going to love watching this video.
But you can see the Rio Inirida is the one with the ick on it right now. And that just appeared yesterday morning.
Any new additions that may have brought it on? Or?
Yep. I only quarantined the Steindackery for 2 weeks. And I'm pretty sure that's what did it, but it's
Most
pretty
likely.
easy to cure.
Yeah.
If I've got to have something in the tank, that's the one.
Yep, and you got it early, so you're not going to have any issues. You
and
know.
Unfortunately, this tank, I got this. All my tanks pretty much.
Big whole long piece of wood you got in there.
Yeah, this is all local river wood. I have. I keep a lot around. I've got more up there.
Oh, up top. And do you do anything special with it?
I let it in the summertime. I hose it off with a pressure washer, and leave it in the sun. Turn it a lot. I figure anything that can live, after a couple of days in that is not going to die for anything I want to put in the tanks anyway.
Right. So just basically your river driftwood. So nothing fancy. And I see that you just run an FX5, so nothing fancy.
I try to have multiple filters on everything. So this one's got a 110 and an FX5.
Yep.
Jag tank has an FX5 and a 2217. The 100-gallon in the dog's bedroom has two 2217s on it. I've had too many instances of, for whatever reason, one filter stops. And I'd much rather have some filtration still going.
Exactly, than nothing. How often do you, I know with your back and everything, water changes have got to be a chore.
Not as much as you think.
Really?
That's a nice one too. I generally do about 250s a week on everything, just because. I test about anytime I send something out of the ordinary. I'll do water tests, but generally, as long as everything's normal, there's no need. My nitrates are never above 10.
Yep.
Even though this tank is stocked pretty heavily right now, It still does fine.
The thing is, and what I was looking...
Eventually when I get these guys cured, 4 of the Steindachneries are going to go over in with the Oscar. And I want to end up with 2 groups of 4, basically.
That's what I was... One thing that I was excited about coming here is because you have so many fish that you don't normally see.
Well,
and I got to learn them.
Yeah. It's just the way I've always sort of gone is... If it's unusual and hard to get, and more of a challenge, I head straight for it.
Nice.
It's
I like that little bumblebee looking thing.
Yeah, that's the Gymnophagous norte. They're a Meridionalis. My pronunciations are horrible because I've never heard anyone pronounce a lot of them correctly.
Right.
So I just have to go out of books and stuff.
Go out, they got it broken down in the books.
I have a lot of the Aqualog books and all Paul Loiselli's books, and I'm a firm believer that learning to read is the key to everything. Actually, I'm working with the school system right now with some of their advanced biology students, getting them to understand, because they have a water resources class and stuff like that, so understanding the nitrogen cycle, understanding that keeping fish isn't really keeping fish, it's keeping water.
Correct.
And
correct.
It's set up a routine, follow it, and you almost never have problems.
Exactly. I mean, with that same setup, you can get them. They can learn about aquaponics, everything.
Yeah. This is the closest I get to a planted tank.
I just noticed that coming in the back there.
And all of these plants are house plants that neighbors have brought over that were dead. And I'm known in town. You just stick your plants in the tanks, and in a couple of weeks you can come back and get it, and it'll be growing and healthy.
I have a couple of ivy plants that I had inside, and I had to put them out because my cat would eat on it and make them sick, obviously.
Yeah.
And whenever just a branch would break off, I dropped it in the back corner of my tank. It continued to grow.
And the fish like to nibble on the roots and the stuff that grows on the roots, and it probably helps in some minuscule fashion with some of the nitrates and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure it does.
But it certainly doesn't hurt anything, and it adds some naturalness.
I like this setup. I like the fish in this tank.
And it's very, notice nobody's in this tank, not a single bite mark. Outside of the one fish showing a little ick.
Right. All right, you got 1/500. I know that you got stuff in, right?
Mm-hmm. So that's where all the Chetumalensis and stuff like that are.
Well,
the bifas. And
let's go check that out.
And those blue redhead?
Yeah. And there's
a couple of the T-bar Sagica. Is that them right there?
Yeah, there's some Sagicas in here and some Chetumalensis.
I see your...
The Chetus should come out eventually. There's one of the bifas. The other one's behind it. I suspect I have... I had 6 of them. And I suspect the survivors are 2 males. We're here, the red tex.
Oh, that's that crazy red Texas you were telling me about? Yeah, looks just like mine.
Yeah. He's still getting redder and losing black a little bit every month, but it's really slowed down.
What a pill, right?
Yeah. I would love to rehome him.
Now, you didn't build this tank, did you?
No.
Okay.
This one actually came out, I'm not sure which one, but a casino in Vegas. This is technically a 470, but I've got a 55-gallon wet-dry sump, which has 45 gallons of media in it.
Oh, so that's you're pumping it up over the edge there.
Yeah. And then I have another, this one is basically set up totally as particle filtration. I've modified it, it has porate foam around the outside. I modified the trays so it has one continuous piece around the outside.
There you go.
And then it, up the center it has fine pads, and the top 2 trays are full of Sechem matrix. Helps a little bit with the bio.
YouTube, if you could see the way everything's just laying in here, it's like you're looking underwater. With the rocks, the sand, the wood.
Oh, this tank's incredibly relaxing. I used to actually put a mattress out here, an air mattress, and you can lie, and this is just, you have a long day, come home from work, and just, especially when I had the Quetzalcoatlus in here.
I see the Lozella you have there.
Yeah, he's the last of those. I had Loiselli, RTMs, and my Freddies all in here. Not in this one. This one was empty at the time of the...
so it didn't have anything dumped into it.
This one was stood up against the wall. and the other 2 were stacked.
Oh, you had a stacked 500s?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The rack is right now in my storage unit.
Good Lord, that is...
And that 150-gallon tub out front was, at that point, the reservoir for the sump system on the 2.
Gotcha.
And I just use a home sump pump with a float switch in it. And, level goes up and down so you get the nice wet dry. And it works great. I've had people tell me it shouldn't work the way I do it, but it's been working for a couple of years.
Should be no reason why not.
It's just I've got, for the volume of the sump that I'm using right now, it has a lot of media in it. And it's all Sechem matrix, so.
Right.
I actually have about 1.5 gallons of BioBalls that I use as a pre-filter. And it all goes through 200 micron filter socks too.
Sweet, I'll get this Centrocus. It's a big male.
Yeah. They're starting to get used to you being here now.
Yeah, I'd be loading this thing up. That's just...
I don't have the ability to sell it right now. I was
Right.
actually contemplating selling it to raise money. The way I build them's a little different. This one's incredibly hard to catch fish in.
Because of the openings the way they
Yep.
are. Yep.
Fish has 8x4x2 to run in. You have an 18-inch square.
Yeah, I see those openings and that's insane. I agree. That would be a pain in
What
the
I
rear.
do is I make a barricade with screen. You've basically got to take everything out of the tank. And then you split it in half and then catch your fish in the 4x4 square.
You just come up over the edge, kind of like you did that?
Yeah, I've just got a 1.75" siphon feeding the sump. And if it, say the pump was to stop, it'll actually overflow the sump on this one a little bit. I'm not too concerned because it's outside.
Right.
But then it gets down to a hole I have drilled into it. It breaks the vacuum and stops. The level on this never would get down lower than about 3 inches from the top.
Well, that's nice.
If you don't do that, it would, siphon itself
Correct.
way down. And this, even in the middle of winter at 0 degrees, only takes an 800-watt heater. I'll put some boards over the top and then some blankets, to stop the heat loss through there. But the acrylic tanks are so well insulated. That's all I have to do. Whereas glass tanks out here, I have to put styrofoam all over them, and that's why all the acrylics were basically outside.
So you have no bottom feeders, no catfish hanging out in here or nothing?
I'm not a big pleco fan.
No plecos. And there's another one of your Hannas or Cannas right here. Hanging out by the rock.
I don't see it, but
Right there. Oh, disappeared.
it might be a little jag.
Okay.
There's about 3 dead generations. I want to eventually, sort of as a mild experiment, see if I can. Because I've seen other people have jags in community setups, especially with large, Paranetropolis and stuff, and sort of see if that'll work out.
It's possible.
When you see there's almost no floating particles anywhere in this tank.
Nothing. No.
And there's 2 7-inch filter socks in the sump, plus this one taking care of that.
And that one's pretty much polishing it. That FX6 is what that's doing. Really? It's definitely a unique setup.
And that sump pump's been working on it for... I have a spare one in case it should fail, but I got 2 at the same time, but it's been going on 2.25 years now.
Right.
And it's a volume pump, not a pressure pump. So anything, snails or whatever that get pulled into it, it just runs them right through.
Right.
And all I do is close the red valve on top halfway and open the feeder to the sprinkler hose, and it waters the lawn.
And you water the lawn to it. That's awesome.
And it'll half empty the tank in about an hour and a half.
there's a little jag.
And those are all F1s off the parent side.
Yeah, that boy inside, you're right. He is a beauty.
He's the most interactive jag I've ever had. I love watching the fish grow. That's my favorite part, is, seeing the relatively plain thing you start with.
Yep.
That then blossoms out.
I try to tell so many people that, I get asked so many times, hey Sean, how do you get your community tanks going? How can I get this? Will this survive with this? And I said, well, honestly, that's what I enjoy doing. I love watching these guys grow. So I'll throw 7, 8 different species with similar water params in a tank and watch them grow.
Right, and then you just take the troublemakers
Yep.
out as things happen. And
Watch them interact.
Occasionally you have a disaster like was it Darren's Trimac went
Yep.
crazy. Because they can get along, and one day they decide not anymore.
Exactly. I've had enough. I don't want to share anymore.
Every evening I have what I call the fish channel, where you just go watch tanks for a while.
Well, we'd love to have you come on at Aquatic Support Systems. We finally got the okay, and we've got it set up. We're going to do a radio show,
Be happy to.
and definitely talk more of your South American species you've done so well with.